Good morning, everyone. My name is Jerry Gansey, and I'm joined today by my fellow CoStar's marketing managers, Stephanie Sun and Felicia Campbell, as well as Jenna Gold from Procurated. If you have any questions during the session, please use the chat area to ask it, right? So I want to start today by asking you to envision yourself shopping for a new couch for your home. Because you don't want to put your shoes on, you decide to start with online browsing to get a feel for the current couch market. Because you haven't purchased a couch in over 10 years and you still have your dusty old one, your research on the style that speaks to you now is extensive. So let's say you found a couch that catches your eye, but you know nothing about the manufacturer or the product. Who can give you insight into the quality and value of this product? Well, previous purchasers can, right? So if you would, please use the raised hand function in Microsoft Teams at the top there to let us know if you use ratings and reviews when searching for products online, because I know I do, and I don't purchase anything that has a bad rating. So, Stephanie, do online ratings help you in your buying decisions?
Absolutely.
How do you feel when you see a 5-star rating?
Oh, that's great. I will feel hopeful, but that doesn't really tell me much of the story.
Right. How do you feel when you see, let's say, a 3-star rating?
Those make me want to know more about what exactly are the reasons why the couch didn't score higher. Because I don't want to miss out a great couch just because, for example, some customers thought the included throw pillows were too scratchy. The throw pillows would not factor into my buying decision. So I want to dig into the reviews.
Right, good point. So we've heard the term online influencers quite often recently, and there was a lot of money to be made by someone who makes a job out of influencing. But the most important influencers of our day-to-day decisions are truly those who leave ratings and reviews that help our decision-making process, right? So in comes Procurated. Procurated uses the methodology of previous purchasers educating potential purchasers on their own experience with a product, manufacturer, or even supplier within the public procurement space. This practice is not only helpful to the procurement community, meaning the buyers, but also to the suppliers receiving the ratings and reviews. Let your key clients be your champions touting your value to potential clients. Even a low rating can be valuable information to a supplier, especially when the poster has left a partnering review that specifies an area of business that you can focus on to increase suppliers or client satisfaction. So we have along with us Jenna Gold. She's the Senior Director of Supplier Partnership and Engagement with Procurated. And she's with us today to discuss how CoStar's authorized suppliers can use Procurated's rating and reviews in your sales strategy. So good morning, Jenna. I'll go ahead and hand it off to you.
Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here today. My name is Jenna Gold. I am the Senior Director of Supplier Partnerships for Procurated. My background is actually all in online reviews, so you're catching me talking about my favorite topic here today. I, prior to this, was working for Yelp for about 7 years, and prior to that, I was at TripAdvisor. So now that I'm at Procurated, I'm going to tell you all about what that's about. Surprise, surprise, we're going to be talking a lot about online reviews today, but I'm really here to be a resource to suppliers and vendors that are working for CoStars, as well as any state and local governments, higher education, school districts across the country. So let me share my screen. Okay, so I'll let the CoStars team interrupt me if any of you have questions as we go along. What we're really going to talk about first and foremost is the Procurated overview. What is it? Why are we here today? What are we talking about? And then we're going to do an activity. So I'm going to try to keep this as fun and as informative as possible. So I really want you to be able to participate in this webinar rather than just feel like you're being presented at. So you're going to need your phone for the activity or another browser open. So just have those ready now if you can. And then we're actually going to dive into exactly how you can use Procurated. Surprise, surprise, it's a reviews and ratings website for the public sector. And we're really going to dive into how you can use reviews as a sales enablement tool. So this is to get more business, not just from co-stars, but any public sector. And even if you're working in the private sector as well, you're going to hopefully walk away with a lot of really good information on how to handle reviews, how to utilize reviews to get more business from it, and really how consumers, both in the public sector and private sector, are using those reviews to make informed buying decisions. And then we're also going to get hands-on towards the end of the presentation today, and we're going to get you to claim your basic supplier page on Procurated, and that's going to be easiest done if it's on a computer. You can certainly do it on a tablet or a phone, but just so you know, if you have a computer handy, that may be the best way to do it. Again, as I said, please feel free to ask questions as we go. I don't want to present at you. I'm going to ask the CoStars team to hold off on interrupting for any questions that aren't pertinent to the greater group until the end of the presentation. But if you have something that you want to know, go ahead and throw it in there so you don't forget. And if it does make sense for me to stop and clarify what I'm saying or slow down, whatever that may be, I'm here for you. You should be getting as much out of this as possible. So don't hesitate to ask questions. So, as promised, what is Procurated? Procurated is the ratings and review site for buyers as well as end users in state and local governments, school districts, higher education, and for any users on CoStars. We have a number of other co-op partnerships as well. So if you really think of like TripAdvisor for hotels or Angie's List for home construction, this is really similar, but it's a closed site and it's really only accessible to public sector buyers. Again, these are going to be CoStars buyers who are just trying to decide which suppliers to work with from the CoStars contracts, as well as people all throughout the state of Pennsylvania and the nation that are using it to make informed buying decisions as well. So a little bit of fun background about the company. It was actually founded about 4 years ago by our CEO, David Yarkin, who was actually the past chief procurement officer for the state of Pennsylvania. And when he was CPO, he was really frustrated by one thing in particular, which was cherry-picked references that he would get from suppliers about their past work. He also was frustrated by business going to large national companies or the incumbent when it could really go to a local supplier that could handle that scope of work. So at the same time, he was using review sites all the time in his everyday life outside of government. He was using Yelp and TripAdvisor and other sites to find great local businesses and really read online reviews for their customers. And that's how the idea of Procurated was born. Again, really out of frustration that he could get online and find the best cheesesteak in Philly, but he really couldn't understand what it would be like to work with a supplier. So here's a look at the numbers with Procurated today. As I mentioned, we're about 4 years old. We have over 60,000 verified buyers using the Procurated platform. And I'm going to show you what that platform looks like in just a little bit. But they're using it to find suppliers, evaluate suppliers, and then some individuals are also using it to get an understanding of how suppliers are currently performing on state contracts. We also have over 50,000 ratings and reviews at this point. So a lot of really good information for these buyers. Now, the difference between Procurated and Yelp or other review sites is that every single user on our site is verified, meaning they either have to be registered on the behalf of something like CoStars or a government or a school system, or they're actually manually vetted by our team to make sure that they are actually from governments and education. We also allow people on from nonprofits and healthcare, although the bulk of our users are going to be falling within governments and schools. So we have users in all 50 states, and just like I said, as long as they're a verified buyer and user in state and local government or education, they can sign up to Procurated for free and do research on suppliers. In our partner states, which you'll see listed here, all statewide agencies are using Procurated, and we are actively soliciting reviews for suppliers on behalf of that state. We do the exact same thing with CoStars. So if you are already on a CoStars contract, we are working day in and day out to try to gather reviews for your business to give that back to CoStars so they can then present that to their members, and their members have a better understanding of, okay, hey, I am going to look at these contracts for a tech company, or I'm going to look at these contracts for a consulting company, or whatever it may be that they're buying, and they can go through all of the contracts, and then they can jump over to Procurated and say, okay, there's 10, 20, 100 suppliers on this contract. I want more information. And just as Stephanie was mentioning earlier, the star rating is great, but if you're looking at a star rating, they want to see more context, right? They want to have an understanding of what did a supplier do really, really well, and what could they be working on? Or even if they are going to work with a supplier, they can get a better understanding of what it's going to be like before they do so. So all of these organizations, states, universities listed here are just some of our partnerships. Again, those are just the places where we are actively soliciting reviews, and all of government agencies have the ability to come in and use the site. But we do have users all across the country in all 50 states. Our users are going to be chief procurement officers, chief information officers, contract managers, buyers, purchasers, end users. So anybody that is really in that purchasing process, or they are the recipient of something that someone bought on behalf of CoStars or their state or local government, or their education organization. So now the fun part, get out your phones. I want to do a few questions of a survey with you all so we can get started from there. So go to Slido, slido.com, and then it's going to ask you for the code, which is going to be the code that you see right here, 8769577. Or you can use your camera on your phone to scan that QR code right there, and it'll take you directly to the survey. So the first question is going to be, and I'm going to give you some time to get there, so don't worry. Do you read online reviews before making a purchase? This could be on a specific review site, or it could be, on Amazon, or it could be on the website of someone that you're going to purchase from. Maybe they have their housing reviews there. But how many of you are saying reading online reviews before you make a purchase? Like I said, I'll give you a few minutes here so you're all ready for the next one too. Getting more and more people joining, which is great. So your options are, do you read online reviews before making a purchase? Of course I do, or not me. Okay, I'm going to give it a few more seconds and then we're going to go on to the next one. So again, if you missed it, you can join at slido.com, and it's going to, you could do it on your phone. I think it's easiest done on a phone. And it's going to ask you for that code. The code is right there on the screen, 8769577. All right, let's go to the next one. here. So just so to recap, we've had 100% of people so far answer, of course, I read online reviews. Okay, next question. Why do you read online reviews? I'm preparing to spend money and I want help choosing a business or a product. I want to avoid spending money with a business with bad reputation. With a bad reputation, I want to hear other customers' experiences. No reason, just because I'm bored. You can choose more than one answer here. This is always a fun one to watch the numbers change. So again, you can choose, if you have more than one answer for this, you can add a second response or a third or fourth. Okay. It looks like our winner is I'm preparing to spend money and I want help choosing a business or a product. The next one is I want to avoid spending money with businesses with bad reputations. And the third is I want to hear other customers' experiences. Nobody said no reason, just because I'm bored. All right. And last question for you. What percent of customers do you think read online reviews? Is it 14%? Is it 57%, 78%, or 98%? All right. We have our winner, it looks like, although it looks like it's changing a little bit right now. All right, so far the majority of you have said 78%, pretty good guess. The next group, the next highest said 57%, good guess. 15% of you said that you think it's 98%, and 14%, 4% of you thought it was that. So for those of you who guessed 98%, give yourself a high five or a pat on the back or whatever you want to do. It is actually 98%, which is wild. So we actually know that most consumers are reading online reviews before they're making a purchase. Just like you all indicated that you're all reading online reviews, so is everyone else. So as I mentioned in my background, I've been working with review sites pretty much my entire career, and it's been incredible. I've watched this percentage go up and up year by year. You can see that 88% of people said that they read online reviews in 2014, and now we're at 98%. So almost everyone reads online reviews to help them determine which businesses to buy from. None of you said that you're actually reading reviews because you're bored and that there was no real reason. Well, this is the same for the general population. We read online reviews when we are preparing to spend money with a business. We have a need for a product or a service. We're just trying to decide which business to buy from. And we're using sites like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube when we're bored, right? We're sitting in the doctor's office. People are attached to their phones like crazy now, right? But we're not using sites like that except to entertain ourselves. We're not going on Yelp or any other review site for the heck of it, right? You have a need. You're not just browsing local doctors or Mexican restaurants if you're not planning on spending money or eating Mexican food soon. So this is exactly the same thing with public sector purchasers on Procurated. They have a need. They're in the research process that really occurs before making a purchase. They then come to Procurated to read reviews from other governments and schools across the country and in the state of Pennsylvania to get a better understanding of what it's like to work with a business. So think back to what we did before review sites ever existed. We picked up brochures and we made choices based on what looked best and what cost best. And brochures are great, but they're really just our modern day websites. So I hope all of you have seen the movie Elf. And on the right-hand side here, you can see, this is one of my favorite parts of the movie, when Elf just gets to New York City, doesn't know any better. He's walking around and he sees a diner that has world's best cup of coffee on the window. And he runs in and he says, "Congratulations, everybody, you did it. You have the world's best cup of coffee." And all the employees are just like sitting there staring at him like, "What are you talking about? Like, that's our advertising." So that's the same as a website. A website is a great place where you host all the information about what your business has, what you have to offer, how long you've been in business, all that stuff. But when we look at websites, they all pretty much look the same. I'm pretty sure that if you check out some of your competitors' websites, the colors are going to be different, things are going to be in different places, but all of that information that's there is going to be the same. It's the business saying, "I'm the best, and here's the stuff that I have to offer." And that's what we call owned media. You own it, you control it. And reviews are different, though. Reviews are what we call earned media. And earned media is generally more trusted by consumers because you're not the one saying, "Hey, we have the world's best cup of coffee." It's your customers who are actually doing the talking for you and recommending your business for you. So that's a lot more powerful than the website. So when we think about online reviews, I want you to think of it as really just your word of mouth online. So as I think it was Jared mentioned earlier, online influencers, I like to call them brand advocates. These are people who are telling others exactly why they should work with your business. And before review sites, word of mouth looked like one person telling one more person and one more person and one more person. But now with review sites, one person can use online reviews to tell dozens, hundreds, thousands of potential customers what it's like to work with a business. So today we're really going to talk about how to encourage your customers to spread the word about your business for you, and really how to tap into conversations that are already happening about your business online. We'll also get into how to respond to these conversations to humanize your business and your brand, and how to leverage this amplified word of mouth to sell more to governments, universities, and school districts. And again, hopefully this should help you too. Even if you're selling into private sector, this applies to pretty much any customers that you're working with. On Procurated in particular, it is your public sector customers. So I just mentioned the term brand advocates. Let's just take a look at what that sounds like. Your reviews really can and should be used in marketing and sales, and this is why. So this is someone from the Houston Police Department who got on here and was rating a company called Safeware. They said that their sales rep had a wealth of knowledge that allowed them to give proper guidance in choosing the right things for their program. It was an extremely challenging product with a lot of issues along the way, but the sales rep from this company really helped them navigate, and at the end, they had a great experience. So think about how powerful that is. Then if somebody from a police department in the state of Pennsylvania comes on here, they're thinking about, they're preparing to make a purchase, they're trying to decide which company they're going to work with, and they see this review, right? And they're able to get a better understanding of not just what the business says that they do, but what another police department and another city said that it was like to work with them. Here's another one that they're almost like a dream supplier. Like, how powerful is that? The nice thing about Connection is I've been working with the same people for years. I know the people I work with back and forth. And if they don't have an answer for me, they know where to get it. So they like working with the same person for a long time. So this is another great way for somebody who they can do it anonymously or not, but somebody to come in from anywhere. They're thinking about working with the company Connection, and they can come on their page and say, okay, wow, another person in public sector purchasing had an experience with this business. They've become the brand advocates for this business. It's a lot of great information. So like I said, this should be used for your marketing and sales. When you're meeting with new governments or schools, have them pull up your Procurated page. They have to research your business regardless. And they're probably also going to ask you for references. Be a partner for them before they buy from you and start the relationship off right. These reviews will help shorten their reference check process. And there is nothing we love more really than saving time. And again, these are verified buyers just like they are. So before we go any further, what I do want to do is give you some context and actually show you what Procurated looks like. So we're not just kind of talking about this fictitious tool that you're like, Jenna, it's a great concept, but what are you actually talking about? So let me do this. All right, so when somebody logs into Procurated as a user, they're going to see a search bar like they would see on pretty much any review site, and they can type in anything they're looking for. They can type in cleaning supplies, or they can type in a specific business. They can really type in whatever it is that they're looking for, or they can actually scroll down and pick from one of these categories. So this is the safety and security category. Once they end up on a page or they've done a search, they can scroll down and see the different businesses that satisfy that search. They can do something just for law enforcement, safety, whatever it is that they're looking for, and then they can even search for specific parts within this category. The other thing they can do is filter down by business designation. So minority-owned businesses, small businesses, women, veteran-owned businesses. We know that a lot of public sector agencies have incentives to work with these types of businesses, so we try to make it easier for them to find them. So this is the first use case. This is if somebody's trying to find a new supplier to work with. They're doing searches for the things or the products or the services that they need, and then they're being given a list of different businesses that they can look into. Now, once they do that, the second use case is evaluation. So maybe they already know that they're going to work with Safeware versus another company. So they can come onto the page of Safeware and say, okay, it's between them and one other company that's on this CoStar's contract. Let me get a better understanding of what it's like to work with Safeware. They can actually then scroll down and read reviews about what it was like to work with Safeware to get a better understanding of what it may be like for them to work with Safeware. So you can see they're talking about different products and services that Safeware has. And again, these are all public sector employees. So it's really a great thing for them to come on and say, okay, I'm not just looking at reviews on a general website like Google or Yelp. I'm coming on here and I'm getting reviews from other people just like me who have buying restrictions just like me, and getting a better understanding of what it's like to work with a supplier there. Okay. Now that we know how the website works, I'm going to jump back here. Okay. This seems super obvious, but being a good partner really starts with providing great customer service and, of course, course correcting when you or your team has made a mistake. So everyone knows that there are people behind businesses. People aren't perfect. We're human. In fact, according to a study done by Yelp, 4-star businesses actually make more money than 5-star businesses. Why is that? Because it's more believable. So it's absolutely normal not to be perfect. Actually, it's abnormal to be perfect. And as long as your team is really striving to provide the best customer experiences as possible, when things go right, and especially when things go wrong. So 81% of consumers say that they are likely to leave a positive online review if they feel the business provided exceptional customer service. So that's just something, like we're saying, this is your word of mouth online. If somebody has a really good experience with the business, they're going to go tell their friends that. This is just somebody saying, I had a great experience. I'm likely to leave a positive online review. And then the second highest scenario of them leaving positive reviews is if they turn an initially negative experience into a positive one. So just keep that in mind. Again, this is not just about reviews. This is how the business is operating. According to a study done by Bright Local in 2022, 88% of consumers are likely to use a business that responds to online reviews, compared to only 42% of consumers who said they'd use a business who doesn't respond to online reviews. And take a look at these top two here. Most people want to see a business responding to all reviews, but they'd also be satisfied with responses only to critical reviews, because it shows that the business cares, and if they have an issue, that it will be taken care of. Now, I want you to think of why people like responses to all reviews, if it's possible for you to do that, is because if somebody came up to you in your business or called you and said, I just had the best experience with your team, you wouldn't hang up the phone or walk away, right? You would interact with that person and say, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. But the people that are coming on to write online reviews and become your brand advocates are doing it, taking time out of their day to do that for you, because they know that they are going to be helping your business by doing that. So thank them, show them that you care about them too, and you want their future business. And then if you look at responding to negative reviews, that's pretty straightforward, right? It's going to be for the person who came and didn't have a great experience. You want to respond for that person. But keep in mind that when you're responding to critical reviews, you want to think of the fact that it's not just that one person. In fact, all these potential customers are going to look at that response. So obviously, always keep it professional. Make sure, thank them for the review, even if, again, it's critical. It could be hard. It's like calling your baby ugly. But, thank them for the review. Tell them that you're going to get in touch with them and you're going to fix that with them. So that way, potential customers know that if they have an issue, you're going to be right there to take care of it. Best practices are going to be responding to reviews within 24 hours when possible. So even if you have a bad experience with a business, you call and you tell them about a situation and you don't hear back from them for over a week, you're over it, right? Like they already made you mad. They didn't get back to you. They didn't resolve anything quickly. You're likely never going to go back to that business. The other thing is respond like a human. The only thing worse than not responding to reviews is responding with a general template. We can all spot it, and it really isn't that effective. So make sure that you're being human. And if you are in a bigger company, or you have a couple of people from the company that will be responding to reviews, come up with a response policy. So if this person's in the office, then they're going to be the ones that are going to check, every day, it's just part of their morning routine. They check to see if any reviews are there. Talk with that person on your team, or if you are that person, just come up with a policy. You're going to respond within 24 hours. It's going to be 3 sentences long. It's going to start with a thank you, regardless of if it was a critical review or a positive review. So whatever that feels like for within your company, it's probably going to be similar to what your customer service policies already are. So if somebody does complain, what does that look like? Maybe just apply that to your online reviews. And again, you want to respond publicly, both to positive reviews and critical reviews. The last thing I'll say on this is, again, it can feel really, really difficult when you get a negative review. Those are inevitable. And try to shift your thinking a little bit around this. So they can really be your canary in your coal mine. If you can course correct your team, you can really fix potential problems for future customers as well. So these are people sounding the alarm. Only about 5% of consumers will complain in a place where you can actually find it. So this information is gold and can help you get ahead of issues before they reach other customers, as I just mentioned. It's crucial that you're responding. and you have an opportunity to be a great customer to your partners by looking for any trends and fixing any issues. So if you hear that something keeps coming up, maybe it's in a specific sales territory, or it's about a specific product or a service, this gives you a lot of great information. It's kind of like your secret shoppers that businesses spend tons of money for them to come to the business and let the business know what's wrong. This is free for you. So free secret shoppers that give you a better understanding of really what's going on in your business. In 2022, 65% of customers said that they left a review after being prompted by a business. That's 65%. So they're really used to being asked to write reviews. You should be asking your customers, especially in public sector, to write you reviews as well. At Procurated, we do have a review gathering service to help you get reviews, especially if when we get you to log in today, you don't have many reviews or you don't have any at all. Everybody starts from the same place. But we can help you get more reviews and help train your team on how to do that as well. So get creative. And I'm going to show you some examples on the next slide, but look at these top ways that people said that they responded to online reviews. Emails, obviously we're all email fatigued, so come up with some other avenues to do it as well. In person, if you're going to trade shows or conferences, if you're meeting with clients in person, you can do it then as well. On a receipt or an invoice is a great way to do it if you don't want to feel like you're being pushy. You're just going to put it there. You don't actually have to actively ask for the review, but they know that they can come to Procurated and write you a review for their public sector purchase from you. And then social media. So just letting people know which review sites you're on and where you want them to rate you. This is a good example of what some people are doing to get reviews. You can see on the right-hand side, there's a picture of myself at a recent conference with Frank from Canon. He brings these with him to all of the trade shows that they go to, and he has his team do the same. So, and several of our customers do this. We have actually a site that I will give to Felicia for follow-up. So give the CoStars team for follow-up. You can actually generate one of these on your own, or you can ask us to do it for you, and then you can just go to your local printer, have them print them out. So what this does is it says Canon's overall rating, and then it gives a QR code. So at the show, he has one that sits on his table that people can just scan. So while he's having sales conversation, he can say, don't just take my word for it. Go to Procurated, read other reviews from people in public sector like yourself about what it's like to work with Canon. And you could also, he also prints a bunch out and he hands them out to people with his other collateral. You can also make one of these and include it in your email signature as one of your kind of like places where you want to send people. So there's a lot of great ways you can do it. You can see that Safeware does just that. So they put this QR code and information in the bottom of all of their sales reps' email signatures. So when they're selling to governments, they can go right there. Okay, so I'm going to stop presenting at you, and we are going to do an exercise, not an exercise, this is going to get you started on getting into your Procurated page, making sure all your information is there. So when buyers are finding you, they can, they have information to work with. So we're going to claim your basic supplier page on Procurated. In a new window or tab, go ahead and go to procurated.com/suppliers. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. So you can go to procurated.com and you can either click for suppliers, or you can go to procurated.com/suppliers. If you haven't already done so, go ahead and click claim my free business page. I will be sure to, it typically can take a few days to get approved for your page, but I will make sure that after this webinar, I go in and approve any of the CoStar members that have applied for their basic page during this call. You click on that, you do a search for your business name. And then in this drop down, go ahead and select your business name. Fill out the information here. Heads up for your website, you may actually need to go to your website and copy and paste exactly what the URL is. But your name, your title, your contact email, click I am authorized to claim this business profile page, and then next step. At this point, you're either going to get a message that you need to check your email to verify, or that our team will get back to you as soon as we can. But if you register with your work email, it'll make it much easier for us to get you approved faster. And like I said, right after this call, I will go in and approve everyone that's applied. If when you go to this search bar and you type in the name of your business, it doesn't pop up, go ahead and type it in and then select create a business with this name. If you do see your business name, but maybe it's spelled wrong or it's the DBA is wrong, whatever it may be, still claim that page, but let me know and I can help make those changes. Likewise, if you find that when you come under Procurated, there are several listings for your business that need to be merged, I'm going to give you my contact information at the end of this. We can take care of that as well. So same thing, if you're creating a business, just create a business with this name. You're going to enter the same stuff here. And then I'm authorized and next step. By doing this, you are not locking out your colleagues. So if you have other people from the business that you think should be claiming this page, you're not locking anybody out by doing this. In addition, if you want to just forward this on to somebody else, you certainly can. I'm going to briefly go, for the sake of time, over what it's going to look like right when you're in this account, because I want to make sure we have time for questions at the end. So the three main sections that I want you to focus on: business information, commodity codes, service areas. Service areas are going to be the most straightforward. You can select the entire country, or you can just do a state or counties. If you're specific to Allegheny County, for example, you could just select that and then click Save. Commodity codes. Find as many of these as you can. They are in UNSPSC codes. If you have a hard time finding these, again, this is another time you can email me. I'm happy to help with this. There is a UNSPSC code website that has a code finder that could be helpful for you as well. So go ahead and you can either type in like, oops, I don't want emojis. Cleaning supplies, if I can spell. Select on this, and then you can select what you have and what you don't. This may take you a little bit of time. I recommend doing it when you have a good 15 minutes to go through this. These two, the service area and the commodity codes, are absolutely imperative to help you show up in search on Procurated. So make sure that those are filled out. If you can't find all of the things that you do in commodity codes, that's okay. I'm going to show you how to do it in a second. Business information, pretty straightforward. I do want to draw your attention to contract vehicles. If you are on a PA CoStarz contract, make sure that's selected. But any other contracts you're on, go ahead and select them here. If you don't see a contract listed that you are on that you want us to add, email us suppliersupport@Procurated and we can add those. And perhaps the most important part here is going to be your company description, especially if you don't have reviews yet. So any keywords that you think that people are going to use to try to find you, make sure they're here. So for example, I recently had a company that does events that emailed me and said, I can't find what I do. So I went through and I said, listen, your company description needs to have, that you do casino nights, that you'd have bands, that you do kids events, that you do adult, all of the things that you have. I wouldn't list out the keywords, but make sure you're just working that into your company description. And then once you do that, you can save your changes and see what your page will look like. Now, something you may see is that you have reviews. You'll see up here that you have 2 reviews, 2 visible. We give reviewers the option to share their reviews with a supplier or not. So if they choose to share the review with you, you will see it down here. They also have the ability to choose if they're going to use their name or if they're going to remain anonymous. So just keep that in mind. If you don't have reviews, that is okay. Use some of the things that we talked about earlier to start spreading the word about the fact that you are on Procurated. Put it in your email signature, bring it to shows, let your customers know that you are on Procurated and you want them to go and rate you. And as I mentioned, we also have a review gathering service. We do that for our essentials pages and our pro pages, which is an upgrade. So if you want us to help you gather reviews, we're doing that for several companies right now. We're happy to do so. Okay. So I'm going to wrap up in a second here. Use your reviews, just like I said, they can and should be used as a sales tool. They really empower sellers to say, don't take my word for it. Go see what your peers have to say about our business on Procurated. You can start using reviews to support your sales efforts by first and foremost educating your sales team on why they matter. And especially on a site like this where it's big spend, incorporate your reviews in your conversations with buyers to engage with customer feedback. So use the reviews, pull up your page, send your page to potential buyers as one of your sales resources, and then engage. Make sure that you're responding to these reviews that you are getting by the day, by the week, whatever it may be, but make sure you are responding, not just on Procurated, on any place where you're being reviewed. Those responses are absolutely imperative. So like I said, upgrade to Essentials or Pro, you can respond to reviews. We have a review gathering service. It helps with visibility when buyers are looking for the commodities or services that you have to offer. And you can really add things to guide those buyers to convert to more sales. CoStars actually has an upgraded listing that looks great, so they're able to put on a lot more information about their business and send potential CoStars members to the places where they want to send them. So they're a great example to look at. All right, so I think we're good on time. Key takeaways: make sure that you are claiming, and I will approve your page right after this, filling out all sections, business information, your UNSPSC codes, service area. Ask for reviews on several channels. Get creative with it. Upgrade to Essentials or Pro, and we will do that for you and give you the ability to respond. If you have any questions, or I went too fast, or whatever it may be, or like I said, you noticed that there was an issue with your business name, please, please, please reach out. Supplier support at procurated.com or Jenna at procurated.com will both come to me. So any questions that you have, anything I can help you with, I am here as a resource for you. So please feel free to use me as such. And that is it for me, but I am happy to open it up to take any questions.
There are some questions in the chat here.
Okay.
Brad said, oh wait, Felicia just answered it. So Brad said, these reviews would only come from public agencies, correct? Private businesses cannot leave reviews.
That is correct. Not reviews, but let me just see if I can.
I was going to say, correct me if I'm wrong on my answer, Jenna. And when you're saying agencies, it's not limited just to state government. It's public procurement units around the Commonwealth. So like Jenna said, any local government and school districts and nonprofit.
Yes, exactly. And it's not just within Pennsylvania, it's nationally. So even if you're working with other states,
Good point. I have a very funneled view of this.
I'm gonna look up, so with the upgraded listings to the essentials or the pro, let me share my screen again. If you don't have reviews yet, or even if you do, and you have customer testimonials that live on your website, you can add customer testimonials to your page. So you can see that these people took them from these elementary schools that they're working with and added exactly where they're from.
Can you do the customer testimonials on the free page?
That's just the essentials or the pro.
And,
So-
oh, go ahead, Jared.
I was gonna do another question.
Yep.
Jim said, how are buyers verified on Procurated?
Okay, good question. So there are a few different ways. One is Pennsylvania partnered with them, Massachusetts partnered with them, Texas partnered with them. So they send us, any of our partnerships will send us a list of their verified users in the state and local government agencies. And we will upload those lists into our system and pre-approve those. So we are getting that information directly from the governments or schools that we're working with. The other way that we are verifying is we ask that everybody that registers for our site uses their work email. So we do not approve anybody that doesn't have a government email, that doesn't have a school email. And we do extra research too. We'll end up reaching out and asking for credentials if we need it. We check LinkedIn and government websites. So we have a team of people who manually vet if we need to as well.
So, oh wait.
So, okay, here's a good follow-up question, Jim. The follow-up question was, so the only verification is that they are a buyer, not that they bought from our company. Correct. However, when we partner with organizations as well, they give us transaction data. So CoStar's, I think monthly, sends us a list of transactions between transactions that they have. Is that right, Felicia? You do that?
Yeah, it's a supplier reported sales to CoStar's members. So that's what we send to you.
So to Felicia's point, it's typically one or the other or both. So we have state agencies send us their list of transactions from the month or the quarter. Then we have a team of people that go out and actually contact those buyers or purchasers or contract managers, whoever they may be, and say, hey, we know that you bought from Jenna's business within the past month. Please, tell us about that. Give us a review on what that transaction was like. So we're actually out there soliciting feedback. The review gathering service that we have too allows suppliers to say, hey, Procurated, these are the buyers who I sold to over the last year. I want you to help me go gather reviews from these people. So we are also taking supplier lists and trying to find reviews for suppliers on their behalf as well. What if I do not see my procurement code? And that is what we only perform. Procurement code.
He's talking about the UP. I can't remember all those letters now.
Oh,
I believe that's what he's talking about.
I think you could add it under this information. I'm just checking right now. Okay, so we ask for a DUNS number. Would that be the right one, or a cage code? If you don't see that, but you want it in there, put it in the company description so people know. Yes. So Brad asked, can a public buyer who is not a CoStarz member leave a review? Yes, absolutely. So anybody, any verified user on our site can leave a review for a business. And it is completely free for governments, universities, anybody in the public sector to leave reviews and read reviews.
To go back to John's question, I think he was talking about the UNSPSC
Gotcha.
code.
Yeah, if you can't find that, so John, go ahead and email me and I can try to help you. My email's in the chat, right, Felicia?
Correct.
Yeah, if you're running into anything like that you can't find certain codes, I'm happy to help you one-on-one. And that goes for anybody on this call that just wants more information or wants more specific information to your business. I do calls with suppliers all the time where I look at their page, we go through it together, and make recommendations. Actually, Felicia and I recently did that with CoStarz. So feel free to pick my brain. And if you are like me and at like 2 o'clock in the morning, you're like, oh, I should have asked her that question, just email me. I'm happy to help anytime.
I'd like to see a show of hands of how many on the call are going to claim their page and can see this as a real helpful tool in their sales process. Seeing some hands raising. This is awesome. And just to let you know, when Jared and Stephanie and I are out at events and we're talking to members, we are often talking about Procurated and letting them know that this is a tool for them as well. And it's funny, over the last year, I've noticed before I even get too far into the conversation, they're already saying, I do use Procurated. So it's definitely becoming something that they're finding handy. So it should become handy for you as well as your ratings and reviews grow. So does the tool as a sales technique for you also increases.
Yeah, CoStarz was our first partnership in our entire history of a company. So you all the members have had access for the longest out of any other people using the site. So at this point, there's a lot of good information there for CoStarz members.
All right. Well, Jenna, thank you so much for joining us today. This was great information.
Thank you so much for having me. And I mean it. If anybody needs anything, you know where to find me.